When my wife's sister asked me to give a surprise speech at her wedding, I decided to share some surprising news about my marriage. Before we continue, please subscribe to this channel and let us know in the comments from which country you are watching this video. My name is Benjamin Crawford, and I have been married to Victoria for 5 wonderful years. We live in a nice house in the suburbs, and everyone thinks we are perfect together. Victoria works as a marketing coordinator, and I run a small accounting practice downtown. We attend church together and host family dinners every month at our home. Friends always comment on how happy and stable our marriage looks to them. Victoria and I never fight publicly, and we support each other through everything. I trust my wife completely and believe she feels the same about me. Our relationship has always been built on honesty and open communication with each other. People often ask us for marriage advice because we seem so content together. I never imagined that Victoria could be capable of betraying our wedding vows. Victoria's younger sister, Melissa, gets engaged to her boyfriend, Robert, after 3 years of dating. The engagement party happens at our house, and Victoria takes charge of all planning. She seems incredibly excited about helping Melissa plan the perfect wedding day celebration. Victoria volunteers to coordinate with vendors, schedule appointments, and handle all the details personally. I admire my wife's dedication to making her sister's dreams come true completely. Victoria spends hours every day making phone calls and visiting wedding locations around town. She stays out late several nights each week for dress fittings and meetings. I support Victoria's commitment to helping Melissa, even though I miss spending time together. Victoria tells me that wedding planning is incredibly stressful and time-consuming for everyone involved. She asks me to be patient while she helps create Melissa's perfect day. I agree to give Victoria all the space and time she needs. 3 weeks into the wedding planning process, Victoria starts acting differently around me at home. She becomes secretive with her phone and takes calls in private rooms away. Victoria claims all the calls are from wedding vendors and venues needing information, but she never lets me see her phone screen or hear the conversations. Victoria starts getting text messages at all hours, including late nights and early mornings. She explains that wedding planning happens around everyone's work schedules, so timing is flexible. I notice Victoria smiling at her phone messages in ways that seem personal. When I ask about the messages, Victoria says vendors are just confirming appointments. She seems nervous and defensive when I show curiosity about her activities. Victoria never acted secretive about anything during our 5 years of marriage before now. One afternoon, I decide to surprise Victoria by bringing her lunch during wedding planning. I drive to the bridal shop where Victoria said she would be helping Melissa. But when I arrive, the shop owner tells me nobody came for appointments. Victoria's car is nowhere to be seen in the parking lot or nearby streets. I call Victoria's phone and ask where she is currently located for lunch. Victoria says she is at the bridal shop trying on bridesmaid dresses with Melissa. I tell Victoria that I am at the shop and nobody is there today. Victoria pauses for several seconds before claiming they went to a different location. She gives me an address across town and says they will be busy. I drive to the second location but find it closed for renovations all week. I start paying more attention to Victoria's explanations about her wedding planning activities and schedule. Her stories often contradict each other or change when I ask follow-up questions. Victoria claims to visit venues that I discover were never contacted about weddings. She describes meetings with vendors who have no record of appointments with her. Victoria's timeline for events never matches what actually happened during those times. I find receipts in Victoria's purse for restaurants and stores she never mentioned visiting. The receipts show purchases for 2 people, but Victoria always claims to work alone. One receipt shows expensive wine and dinner at a romantic restaurant downtown. Victoria never drinks wine, and we have never been to that particular restaurant together. Her behavior becomes more suspicious as the wedding planning continues every day. 2 weeks later, I find a man's expensive watch in our bedroom dresser drawer. The watch is not mine, and I have never seen it before in our house. I asked Victoria about the watch, and she seems surprised to see it. Victoria claims the watch belongs to Robert, who left it during wedding discussions. But Robert wears a completely different style of watch that I have seen many times. Victoria's explanation does not make sense, but she insists Robert forgot it somehow. I notice Victoria seems nervous and wants to change the subject quickly about the watch. She puts the watch in her purse, saying she will return it immediately. But I never see Victoria give the watch back to Robert during family gatherings. The mysterious watch disappears, and Victoria never mentions it again when I ask later. Victoria starts working late several nights each week on wedding planning projects and coordination. She claims venues and vendors can only meet after normal business hours for appointments. Victoria says she needs to accommodate everyone's schedules to make the wedding perfect for Melissa. I offer to help with some of the planning tasks, but Victoria refuses assistance. She insists that she has everything under control and prefers working independently on details. Victoria returns home after midnight several times, claiming meetings ran extremely late that evening. She seems tired, but also excited in ways that confuse me about her emotions. Victoria showers immediately when she gets home, even though she spent hours in meetings. Her clothes often smell like men's cologne that I do not recognize at all. During one of Victoria's late wedding planning nights, I drive past the hotel she mentioned. Victoria said she was meeting the wedding coordinator there to finalize reception details and timing. But when I check the hotel parking lot, Victoria's car is not there. I call the hotel desk and ask about wedding planning meetings happening that evening. The clerk tells me no wedding events or meetings are scheduled at their location. I wait in the parking lot for 2 hours, but Victoria never arrives. When Victoria comes home that night, I ask about the meeting at the hotel. Victoria claims the meeting moved to a different location at the last minute. She seems annoyed that I am asking detailed questions about her wedding planning activities. Victoria tells me that I need to trust her judgment about helping her sister. Melissa asked me to give a surprise speech at her wedding reception next month. She wants me to talk about marriage and love from a husband's perspective for guests. I agree to give the speech because I love Melissa like my own sister. Melissa says Victoria does not know about the surprise speech, so I should keep it secret. I start thinking about what to say about marriage and commitment during the reception. Victoria continues her secretive behavior and late nights throughout the remaining wedding planning weeks. Her activities become more suspicious as the wedding date approaches quickly next month. I decide to pay closer attention to Victoria's actions and investigate what she really does. Something is definitely wrong with my wife's behavior, and I need to discover the truth. The wedding speech might become more interesting than anyone expects when I take the microphone. I decide to investigate Victoria's wedding planning activities by checking our joint credit card statements online. What I discover makes my stomach drop to the floor immediately and completely. There are charges at expensive restaurants during times Victoria claimed to be at dress fittings. Hotel charges appear on days when Victoria said she was meeting vendors at venues. Spa treatments for 2 people are billed when Victoria told me she worked alone. Jewelry store purchases show up that Victoria never mentioned or brought home to me. Wine and champagne charges occur regularly, even though Victoria rarely drinks alcohol with me. The financial evidence proves Victoria has been lying about her activities for weeks consistently. Every excuse about wedding planning was actually covering something else entirely different and suspicious. I find receipts in Victoria's car for couples massage treatments at an upscale spa downtown. The receipts show 2 people receiving romantic packages designed for lovers and couples. Victoria never mentioned going to any spa during her wedding planning activities with me. The dates on the receipts match days when Victoria claimed to be visiting flower shops. One receipt shows a couple's retreat package that costs more than our monthly mortgage payment. Victoria charged everything to our joint credit card without discussing the expensive purchases with me. I realize my wife has been using our money to fund romantic dates. Someone else is enjoying luxury treatments that Victoria pays for with our family finances. The spa receipts prove Victoria is not working alone on wedding planning like she claims. I decide to follow Victoria during one of her supposed wedding planning appointments next Tuesday. She tells me she needs to meet the florist at 3 o'clock to finalize arrangements. Victoria leaves the house wearing a beautiful dress and expensive perfume for the meeting. I wait 10 minutes before following her route to see where she actually goes. Victoria drives to the Marriott Hotel downtown instead of any flower shop or venue. I park across the street and watch as Victoria enters the hotel lobby confidently. She acts like she has been there many times before and knows exactly where. Victoria takes the elevator to upper floors while I sit in my car wondering. 20 minutes later, a man exits the same elevator and walks toward the lobby doors. The man looks familiar, but I cannot place where I have seen him before recently. He is tall with dark hair and wearing an expensive suit that costs thousands. The man walks to a luxury car parked near the hotel entrance area. I take photos of his license plate and car model for future reference and investigation. The man drives away while I continue watching the hotel entrance for Victoria. 2 hours pass before Victoria emerges from the elevator looking relaxed and happy completely. Her hair and makeup look different than when she entered the building earlier today. Victoria's dress is slightly wrinkled and her lipstick is gone from her mouth entirely. She walks to her car with a satisfied smile that I have not seen. Victoria drives home while I follow at a safe distance behind her car. When Victoria arrives home, I pretend to be working in my office as usual. She enters the house humming and seems happier than she has been in weeks. Victoria immediately goes to shower, even though she supposedly spent hours planning flowers and decorations. I ask Victoria how the florist meeting went and what decisions they made. Victoria gives vague answers about colors and arrangements without specific details that make sense. She claims the florist needed more time to prepare estimates and proposals for review. But Victoria cannot explain why the meeting took over 3 hours for simple discussions. Her story about the florist appointment does not match her behavior or timeline today. Victoria seems defensive when I ask follow-up questions about specific flowers or costs involved. I search online for information about the license plate number I photographed at the hotel. The car belongs to Thomas Mitchell, who runs a wedding photography business in town. I look up Thomas's website and recognize him immediately from the photos displayed there. Thomas is handsome and professional-looking in all his business portraits and marketing materials online. His website shows photos from dozens of weddings he has photographed recently in our area. I realize Thomas must be the photographer that Melissa hired for her upcoming wedding ceremony. Victoria never mentioned working directly with any photographers during her planning activities with me. But the evidence suggests Victoria has been meeting Thomas secretly at hotels for months. Their relationship appears to be much more personal than professional wedding planning would require. I check Thomas's social media accounts and find photos of expensive restaurants and hotels. The locations match exactly with the charges on our credit card statements from Victoria. Thomas posts photos of romantic dinners and luxury experiences without showing his companion clearly. But the timestamps on his photos match days when Victoria lied about her activities. One photo shows 2 wine glasses at the same restaurant where Victoria charged dinner. Another photo shows a hotel room with champagne and flowers during Victoria's supposed venue visits. Thomas's social media proves he was with Victoria during her fake wedding planning appointments. My wife has been having an affair with Melissa's wedding photographer for months while lying. I install tracking software on Victoria's phone to monitor her real activities and communications secretly. The app shows her location and text messages without Victoria knowing about the surveillance. I discover that Victoria exchanges dozens of messages daily with someone named Thomas in her contacts. Their conversations are romantic and intimate rather than professional wedding discussions about photography services. Victoria tells Thomas that she loves him and misses him when they are apart. Thomas responds that Victoria is his soulmate and future wife in his dreams always. They discuss their physical relationship and plan secret meetings at hotels and restaurants regularly. The text messages prove emotional betrayal beyond just physical affair and infidelity completely. Victoria and Thomas mock me constantly in their private text message conversations together regularly. They call me boring and predictable while laughing about my trust in Victoria's lies. Thomas says I am too stupid to figure out what is happening under my nose. Victoria agrees that I deserve to be cheated on because I lack excitement and passion. They joke about how easy it is to deceive me using wedding planning as cover. Thomas brags about sleeping with another man's wife while I pay for everything unknowingly. Victoria responds that she feels no guilt because our marriage was already dead anyway. Their cruelty and contempt for me proves they feel no remorse about systematic betrayal. Both affair partners think they are smarter than their victim and will never face consequences. I discover that Victoria and Thomas plan to continue their relationship after Melissa's wedding ends. They discuss using future photography sessions as excuses to meet secretly and maintain their affair. Thomas promises to leave his girlfriend and start a new life with Victoria eventually. Victoria says she will ask me for divorce once the wedding is over. They want to keep their relationship secret until after Melissa's celebration to avoid family drama. Thomas and Victoria discuss moving in together and getting married within the next year. They have been planning to destroy my marriage while I supported Victoria's wedding planning efforts. The affair has been systematic and premeditated rather than a spontaneous mistake or moment of weakness. Victoria chose to betray our marriage vows for another man while lying to my face. Instead of confronting Victoria immediately about her affair with Thomas, I decide on strategic revenge. The wedding reception provides the perfect opportunity to expose them both publicly and dramatically. Over 100 family members and friends will attend Melissa's reception next weekend together. Victoria's parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, and cousins will all witness her betrayal firsthand. Thomas will be working as the photographer, making his presence unavoidable during the revelation. I realize that public exposure at a family celebration will destroy both their reputations. The wedding setting ensures maximum attendance and no escape for either betrayer when exposed. Victoria has been using wedding planning to cover her affair for months systematically. Now the wedding will become the venue for her complete destruction and humiliation instead. I volunteer to give a surprise speech celebrating marriage and love during the reception dinner. Melissa is thrilled that her brother-in-law wants to honor her special day with words. She keeps the speech secret from Victoria to maintain the surprise element completely. I tell Melissa that I want to share wisdom about marriage and commitment. Melissa agrees that guests would appreciate hearing from someone with a successful marriage like mine. She schedules my speech after dinner when everyone will be relaxed and happy. The timing ensures maximum attention and impact when I reveal the truth about Victoria. Melissa has no idea that her sister's betrayal will be exposed during her celebration. My speech will transform from wedding tribute into a fair revelation that destroys Victoria and Thomas. I begin gathering concrete evidence of Victoria and Thomas's affair for my wedding speech. I take photographs of them entering and leaving hotels during their secret meetings. The pictures show intimate embraces and kisses between Victoria and Thomas in public places. I record their phone conversations discussing their relationship and future plans together completely. Hotel receipts and credit card statements prove systematic deception and financial theft from our marriage. Text message screenshots reveal their cruelty toward me and contempt for our wedding vows. Voice recordings capture them mocking my trust and planning continued betrayal after the wedding. The evidence package will be overwhelming and undeniable when presented to the wedding guests. Victoria and Thomas cannot lie their way out of documented proof of months of affairs. I discover that Thomas has been overcharging for wedding photography to fund dates with Victoria. His invoice to Melissa includes inflated prices that subsidize his affair with my wife. Thomas uses Melissa's wedding budget to pay for hotel rooms and expensive dinners with Victoria. The financial fraud adds another layer of betrayal beyond just adultery and deception alone. I document Thomas's billing irregularities and compare them to other photographers in our area. His prices are 50% higher than competitors for the same services and packages. Thomas is stealing from Melissa's wedding budget to finance his affair with her sister. The financial evidence proves professional misconduct along with personal betrayal of marriage vows completely. I plan my speech to start innocently before revealing the devastating truth about Victoria's betrayal. The opening will celebrate Melissa and Robert's love while discussing marriage values and commitment. I will talk about trust being the foundation of all successful relationships and partnerships. The speech will transition into how some marriages hide terrible secrets and systematic deception. Then I will reveal that Victoria has been having an affair for months. The evidence will be presented chronologically showing the progression of their betrayal and lies. Photos and recordings will prove Victoria and Thomas's guilt beyond any reasonable doubt possible. The speech will conclude by wishing Melissa a marriage built on honesty, unlike Victoria's. My calm delivery will contrast with Victoria and Thomas's panic when their affair is exposed. I research the best strategies for public exposure that will maximize damage to both betrayers. Social humiliation works better than private confrontation for people who care about family reputation. Wedding receptions create perfect audiences of relatives and friends who trust Victoria completely. The formal setting prevents Victoria and Thomas from escaping until the revelation is complete. Photography and video recording at weddings ensure the exposure will be documented forever. Social media will spread the story beyond just wedding guests to our entire community. Professional consequences will follow Thomas as his business reputation is destroyed by the scandal. Victoria will face rejection from family members who attended the wedding and witnessed betrayal. The wedding venue ensures maximum impact with minimum effort from me for perfect revenge. Victoria continues her affair with Thomas while planning final wedding. Details for Melissa's celebration. They think their secret is safe and that I remain completely oblivious to everything. Victoria acts loving and supportive toward me while texting Thomas constantly about their relationship. She helps Melissa with last-minute preparations while planning her own future with another man. Thomas finalizes photography schedules while sending romantic messages to my wife behind everyone's backs. Both betrayers attend family dinners and pretend to care about Melissa's happiness sincerely. They contaminate every wedding activity with their inappropriate relationship and disrespect for marriage vows. Victoria and Thomas have no idea that their affair will be exposed publicly. Their confidence and arrogance will make the wedding revelation even more devastating for everyone. I practice my speech delivery to appear calm and composed during the revelation process. My goal is to seem like the mature husband sharing painful truth with family. I will maintain dignity while Victoria and Thomas panic and try to deny everything. The contrast between my composure and their desperation will convince guests of their guilt. I rehearse responses to potential interruptions or attempts to stop my speech during the reception. Victoria might try to discredit me or claim the evidence is fabricated somehow falsely. Thomas could attempt to leave the venue before the complete truth is revealed. I prepare for every possible reaction and plan counter-arguments for their desperate defenses. The speech must continue until all evidence is presented and their guilt is established. I prepare backup copies of all evidence on multiple devices in case of technical problems. USB drives contain photographs, recordings, and financial documents proving the systematic affair and deception. I upload everything to cloud storage accessible from my phone during the reception speech. Multiple family members will receive copies of evidence to prevent Victoria and Thomas from denying. The documentation will be distributed immediately after my speech to ensure permanent consequences for both. Hotel managers and restaurant staff can verify the evidence if Victoria claims fabrication. Credit card companies have records matching my documentation of their affair expenses and charges. The evidence is bulletproof and cannot be disputed or explained away by either betrayer successfully. The wedding is scheduled for next Saturday, and I finalize my revenge speech preparation. Victoria seems excited about Melissa's big day and has no suspicion about my discovery. She continues meeting Thomas secretly while helping with final wedding preparations innocently and enthusiastically. Thomas sends Melissa updated photography schedules while planning romantic encounters with Victoria behind her back. Both affair partners think they have successfully deceived everyone for months without consequences or detection. They plan to continue their relationship after the wedding using photography sessions as cover. Victoria and Thomas have no idea that Saturday will destroy their reputations and relationship completely. The wedding reception will become their nightmare instead of Melissa's dream celebration. Justice will be served publicly with maximum impact on both betrayers simultaneously during the family gathering. During the final week before Melissa's wedding, I intensify my surveillance of Victoria and Thomas's affair. They meet 3 times this week using wedding coordination as their cover story completely. Victoria tells me she needs to finalize photography details with Thomas for the ceremony. I follow them to the Grand Plaza Hotel where they spend 2 hours together. Thomas's car is parked next to Victoria's in the hotel garage for privacy. I photograph them entering the hotel holding hands like a married couple celebrating. They emerge looking disheveled with Victoria's lipstick smudged and hair messed up from their encounter. The hotel charges appear on our credit card statement the same evening automatically. Victoria returns home claiming the photography meeting went well and everything is arranged perfectly. I discover that Victoria and Thomas have been using wedding vendor meetings as opportunities for romantic dates. Victoria lies to Melissa about needing to visit cake shops and flower vendors repeatedly. Instead, Victoria meets Thomas at expensive restaurants for intimate dinners during these supposed errands. I find receipts showing couples' meals with wine and champagne that cost hundreds of dollars. The restaurants are romantic establishments known for anniversary celebrations and special occasions among couples. Victoria charges everything to our joint credit card while telling me she grabbed quick snacks. Thomas posts photos of elegant dinners on his social media without showing his companion. The timestamps match exactly with Victoria's fake vendor meetings that she reported to Melissa. Their affair has been systematically integrated into every aspect of wedding planning for maximum deception. Thomas has been overcharging Melissa significantly for wedding photography services to fund his affair with Victoria. His quote is $3,000 more than other photographers in our area charge. I research wedding photography prices and discover Thomas's rates are inflated by 60% above normal. The extra money pays for hotel rooms and expensive dinners with my wife regularly. Thomas creates fake line items on his invoice like additional editing and extended coverage charges. Melissa trusts Victoria's recommendation and pays Thomas without questioning the high prices he demands. Victoria encouraged Melissa to hire Thomas specifically knowing about their affair relationship from the beginning. The financial fraud proves Thomas is stealing from Melissa to fund his betrayal of marriage. Victoria helped orchestrate the overcharging scheme to benefit her affair partner financially. I follow Victoria and Thomas to a weekend getaway they planned during supposed dress shopping trips. Victoria tells me she needs to visit 3 different bridal shops with Melissa on Saturday. Instead, Victoria drives 2 hours to a romantic bed and breakfast in the mountains. Thomas meets her there, and they spend the entire weekend together like honeymooners celebrating. I photographed their intimate moments on the balcony overlooking the valley and lake below. They hold each other and kiss passionately while enjoying champagne and strawberries together romantically. Victoria uses our credit card to pay for the expensive weekend retreat and spa treatments. Thomas documents their romantic getaway on social media with carefully cropped photos hiding Victoria's identity. The weekend costs more than our monthly mortgage payment for their secret affair celebration. Victoria lies to Melissa about vendor recommendations to create more opportunities with Thomas for meetings. She tells Melissa that certain vendors can only meet at specific times that match Thomas's availability. Victoria schedules fake appointments that never happen so she can spend time with Thomas. She recommends expensive vendors that Thomas knows personally through his photography business network connections. Victoria suggests venues that require multiple visits for planning, giving her excuses for extended absences. Melissa trusts her sister completely and follows all of Victoria's suggestions without question or doubt. Victoria manipulates her own sister's wedding planning to facilitate her affair with the photographer. The systematic deception shows Victoria will betray anyone for her selfish desires and relationship. I record a phone conversation where Victoria and Thomas discuss their post-wedding plans together explicitly. Victoria says she will ask me for divorce immediately after Melissa's reception ends completely. Thomas promises to leave his girlfriend and move in with Victoria within 2 weeks. They discuss selling our house and using the money to start their new life. Victoria wants to keep our joint savings account and investments for herself and Thomas. Thomas suggests they could move to another state where nobody knows about their affair. Victoria agrees that a fresh start somewhere else would be perfect for them. They plan to announce their relationship publicly once my divorce is finalized and processed. The recording proves premeditated betrayal and theft of marital assets for their future together. Thomas gives Victoria expensive jewelry and gifts that he hides from his girlfriend and clients. I find diamond earrings and gold bracelets in Victoria's car that I never purchased for her. Victoria claims the jewelry belongs to Melissa and she is keeping it safe. But the jewelry is clearly Victoria's size and style preferences, rather than Melissa's taste completely. Thomas buys Victoria designer purses and expensive clothes for their dates and encounters together. The gift receipts show thousands of dollars spent on luxury items for Victoria specifically and personally. Thomas uses income from wedding photography to buy presents for my wife regularly. Victoria accepts expensive gifts while lying about their source and meaning to our marriage. The jewelry proves Thomas's financial investment in stealing another man's wife for his satisfaction. Victoria and Thomas discuss their physical relationship in explicit detail during recorded conversations and text messages. They compare their intimate encounters to Victoria's relationship with me unfavorably and cruelly throughout their communications. Victoria tells Thomas that he satisfies her in ways that I never could manage. Thomas brags about his sexual prowess and Victoria's enthusiastic responses to his advances consistently. They mock my performance and attractiveness while planning their next encounter together at hotels. Victoria says she fakes satisfaction with me while counting hours until seeing Thomas again. Their conversations reveal complete disrespect for our marriage and contempt for me as Victoria's husband. The explicit discussions prove emotional and physical betrayal beyond simple adultery charges and accusations. I discover that Victoria has been telling Thomas intimate details about our private marriage conversations. She shares information about our financial situation, family problems, and personal struggles with Thomas regularly. Victoria reveals my insecurities and fears to Thomas so they can mock me together. Thomas knows details about my business, health concerns, and family relationships that Victoria shared inappropriately. Victoria discusses our bedroom activities and marriage problems with Thomas like entertainment for their amusement. She violates every boundary of marriage privacy and trust by sharing personal information. Thomas uses knowledge about me to manipulate situations and avoid detection of their affair. Victoria's betrayal extends beyond infidelity to complete violation of marriage confidentiality and respect completely. The evidence I gather proves Victoria and Thomas have been planning systematic destruction of my marriage. They coordinate lies and alibis to avoid detection while building their relationship foundation together. Victoria researches divorce lawyers and asset protection strategies for when she leaves me officially. Thomas encourages Victoria to hide money and valuables from me before filing papers. They discuss ways to make me look like an unfit husband during divorce proceedings ahead. Victoria plans to claim emotional abuse and marriage problems to justify her affair behavior. Thomas offers to testify on Victoria's behalf about my supposed character flaws and treatment. Their planning proves malicious intent to destroy my reputation while stealing marital assets. The affair involved premeditated fraud and conspiracy beyond simple relationship betrayal and adultery alone. Saturday morning arrives with perfect weather for Melissa's wedding ceremony and reception celebration ahead. Victoria wakes up excited and happy, completely unaware that today will destroy her reputation forever. She spends 2 hours getting ready with professional makeup and hairstyling for the event. Victoria wears a beautiful blue dress that Thomas bought for her during their affair. I watch my wife prepare for the wedding that will expose her betrayal publicly. Victoria seems genuinely excited about celebrating her sister's marriage and happiness together with family. She has no idea that I discovered her affair or that revenge is planned. Victoria acts loving toward me and discusses how beautiful the ceremony will be. I maintain normal behavior while finalizing my speech notes for the reception revelation. Today, Victoria will face consequences for months of systematic deception and lies about everything. The wedding ceremony takes place at St. Mary's Church with over 100 guests attending. Melissa looks absolutely stunning in her white gown walking down the aisle toward Robert. Victoria sits beside me in the front row, crying happy tears for her sister. Thomas works as the photographer, capturing every moment of the ceremony professionally and discreetly. I watch Thomas and Victoria carefully for any inappropriate interactions during the religious service. They maintain professional distance and act appropriately in front of all the family members. Victoria whispers to me about how beautiful Melissa looks and how perfect everything seems. Thomas focuses on his photography duties without acknowledging Victoria beyond necessary professional communication completely. Both affair partners play their roles perfectly, while everyone remains oblivious to their betrayal. The ceremony proceeds without any drama or hint of the scandal coming later. During the cocktail hour before dinner, Victoria mingles with family members and acts perfectly normal. She helps Melissa with her dress and takes family photos with relatives from out. Victoria introduces me to cousins and friends as her loving husband of 5 years. Everyone comments on what a beautiful couple Victoria and I make together consistently. Victoria smiles and thanks people while secretly planning to divorce me next week. Thomas works professionally, taking candid photos of guests enjoying the celebration and drinks. I observe Victoria and Thomas carefully for any secret communication or inappropriate behavior between them. They exchange subtle glances when they think nobody is watching their interactions closely. Victoria touches her hair and smiles when Thomas is nearby, taking photographs of guests. Thomas positions himself to capture flattering photos of Victoria throughout the cocktail hour naturally. I finalize my speech notes while guests enjoy appetizers and conversation before the reception dinner. The speech begins with congratulations for Melissa and Robert on their beautiful marriage ceremony. I plan to discuss the importance of trust, honesty, and commitment in successful relationships. The middle section will transition into how some marriages hide terrible secrets and betrayals. Then I will reveal Victoria's affair with Thomas using documented evidence and proof. The speech concludes by wishing Melissa a marriage built on truth, unlike some others. I practice my delivery to remain calm and composed throughout the entire revelation process. Victoria must not suspect anything until the moment I take the microphone and begin speaking. My timing needs to be perfect to ensure maximum impact and no escape opportunity. Victoria approaches me during cocktail hour asking if I feel okay because I seem quiet. I tell Victoria that I am just thinking about how much I love our family. She smiles and kisses my cheek, saying that family is everything to both of us. Victoria mentions how professional and talented Thomas seems as a photographer for Melissa's wedding day. I agree that Thomas appears very skilled at capturing important moments and hidden details. Victoria suggests we should consider hiring Thomas for any future family events we might host. I tell Victoria that Thomas might be too expensive for our budget based on research. She insists that quality photography is worth paying extra money to get right completely. Victoria's enthusiasm for Thomas makes me even more determined to expose their affair publicly tonight. As dinner service begins, guests take their assigned seats at decorated tables throughout the ballroom. Victoria and I sit at the family table with Melissa's parents and Robert's family members. The wedding party makes their grand entrance to applause from all the guests attending. Melissa and Robert look radiant as they enjoy their first meal as husband and wife. Thomas continues photographing the dinner service and guest interactions throughout the elegant ballroom space. Victoria seems relaxed and happy while eating dinner and talking with relatives at our table. She compliments Melissa's choice of menu and decorations for the reception celebration repeatedly during conversation. Victoria has no idea that her reputation will be destroyed in 30 minutes when I speak. Thomas works nearby our table, taking photos while Victoria smiles for his camera naturally. I excuse myself from the dinner table, claiming I need to review my surprise speech. Victoria kisses my cheek and tells me she is proud that Melissa asked me. I walk to a quiet corner and pull up the evidence files on my phone. The photographs, recordings, and documentation are all ready for presentation during my speech tonight. Hotel receipts, credit card statements, and text message screenshots prove Victoria's systematic betrayal completely. I practice my opening lines one final time before returning to the dinner table. Victoria asks if I feel prepared for the surprise speech I will give soon. I tell Victoria that I have everything I need to make this speech memorable. She smiles and says she knows I will do a wonderful job honoring Melissa. Victoria has no idea that she will be the real subject of tonight's speech. Melissa's maid of honor gives a touching speech about friendship and love that brings tears. Robert's best man shares funny stories about their college days and relationship growth together. The guests applaud and laugh at appropriate moments throughout both heartfelt presentations about the couple. Victoria wipes tears from her eyes and tells me how beautiful the speeches are. She mentions that she cannot wait to hear what wisdom I will share. I tell Victoria that my speech will certainly surprise everyone in attendance tonight, definitely. The DJ announces that dinner is concluding and dancing will begin after final speeches. Melissa approaches the microphone and announces that her brother-in-law has prepared a surprise speech. She calls me to the front while guests applaud and prepare to listen carefully. Victoria beams with pride as I walk toward the microphone to begin my revelation. I reach the microphone and look out at the 100 wedding guests seated before me. Victoria sits at our table smiling and looking proud of her husband giving a speech. Thomas positions himself near the back of the room with his camera ready to photograph. Family members, friends, and relatives wait expectantly for my words about marriage and love. Melissa sits at the head table glowing with happiness about her perfect wedding day celebration. Robert holds his new wife's hand while anticipating wisdom from an experienced married man. The ballroom falls quiet as everyone focuses their attention on my upcoming surprise speech. Victoria has no idea that the next 5 minutes will destroy her reputation forever. Thomas continues working unaware that his affair will be exposed to everyone he knows. I clear my throat and begin the speech that will change everything for both betrayers completely. I begin my speech by congratulating Melissa and Robert on their beautiful wedding ceremony today. Everyone smiles and applauds as I praise their love story and commitment to each other. I talk about how marriage requires trust, honesty, and dedication from both partners always. The guests nod approvingly as I discuss the sacred vows that couples make together. Victoria beams with pride from our table, thinking I am giving perfect marriage advice. I mention how some couples face challenges, but work through them with communication and respect. Thomas continues taking photographs while positioning himself near the exit doors for better angles. The audience listens attentively as I build toward my main message about marriage relationships. I pause dramatically and look directly at Victoria before continuing my speech with devastating revelations. The innocent beginning makes what comes next even more shocking for everyone present completely. I transition into discussing how appearances can be deceiving in some marriages that seem perfect. The ballroom remains quiet as guests listen to my words about hidden secrets in relationships. I explain that some spouses betray their wedding vows while maintaining innocent public images successfully. Victoria starts looking slightly uncomfortable as my speech takes an unexpected direction away from celebration. I mention that trust can be destroyed by systematic deception and lies over months. Several guests shift in their seats, sensing that something serious is coming in my presentation. I look around the room, making eye contact with family members before revealing the truth. Thomas stops taking photos and moves closer to hear my words more clearly than before. I announce that some people in this room have been living double lives recently. Victoria's smile fades as she realizes my speech is heading somewhere dangerous for her reputation. I reveal that my wife Victoria has been having an affair for the past 4 months. Gasps echo throughout the ballroom as 100 guests process my shocking announcement immediately. Victoria jumps up from her seat screaming that I am lying and making everything up. I calmly tell everyone to remain seated while I present the evidence of betrayal. Several relatives start talking loudly, asking questions about what I just revealed to them. Melissa covers her mouth in horror, realizing her sister's scandal is ruining her wedding reception. Robert holds Melissa's hand, trying to comfort her, while everyone stares at Victoria accusingly now. Victoria's parents look devastated as they process their daughter's public exposure and humiliation completely. I raise my voice, asking for quiet so I can continue with the evidence presentation. Thomas tries to move toward the exit, but several male guests block his path suspiciously. I announce that Victoria has been meeting her affair partner at hotels and restaurants regularly. I pull out my phone and display photographs of Victoria and Thomas entering the Marriott together. The images appear on the large screen behind me, showing their intimate embraces and kisses. More photos follow, documenting their secret meetings over weeks of systematic deception and lies. Victoria screams that the photos are fake and demands that I stop the presentation immediately. Thomas tries to deny everything, claiming the photos are manipulated or taken out of context. I show hotel receipts with timestamps proving Victoria used our credit card for affairs. Credit card statements appear on screen, showing thousands of dollars spent on romantic dates. The financial evidence proves Victoria stole from our marriage to fund her betrayal completely. Guests gasp as they see documented proof of systematic adultery and theft from family finances. I play audio recordings of Victoria and Thomas discussing their relationship and future plans together. Their voices fill the ballroom as they call each other soulmate and true love. The guests listen to Victoria complaining about our boring marriage while praising Thomas's excitement. Thomas's voice promises to leave his girlfriend and start a new life with Victoria. They discuss divorce plans and how to steal marital assets for their future together. Victoria and Thomas mock me in the recordings, calling me stupid and gullible constantly. The audio evidence proves emotional cruelty beyond just physical betrayal and adultery charges. Family members look disgusted hearing Victoria's contempt for her husband and marriage vows. Thomas attempts to leave again, but wedding guests surround him, demanding explanations for his behavior. Victoria continues denying everything, despite overwhelming evidence playing for everyone to hear clearly. Melissa stands up crying and asks Victoria how she could destroy her wedding day celebration. Victoria tries to approach her sister, but Melissa backs away in disgust and disappointment completely. Victoria's parents express shame and anger at their daughter's public betrayal of family values. Several aunts and uncles start shouting questions at Victoria about her lies and deception. I continue presenting evidence while Victoria becomes increasingly desperate and panicked about the exposure. Thomas finally admits the affair is real, but claims Victoria seduced him during vulnerable moments. Victoria screams that Thomas pursued her aggressively and promised to leave his girlfriend for marriage. They start blaming each other for the affair, while 100 guests watch their partnership crumble. The unity between affair partners dissolves into mutual accusations and hatred in front of everyone. Their betrayal turns into a public spectacle of finger-pointing and desperate attempts at damage control. I reveal that Thomas overcharged Melissa for photography services to fund his affair with Victoria. The inflated invoice appears on screen showing excessive prices compared to other photographers locally. Thomas stole from Melissa's wedding budget to pay for hotel rooms and romantic dinners. Victoria helped orchestrate the financial fraud by recommending Thomas, despite knowing about their relationship. The evidence proves professional misconduct, along with personal betrayal of marriage and family trust. Melissa's new husband, Robert, demands refund of the overcharged photography fees immediately from Thomas. Several male relatives approach Thomas, threatening to remove him from the wedding venue physically. Victoria tries to defend Thomas, but her own family turns against her completely. The financial fraud adds another layer of betrayal that enrages everyone present at the celebration. Victoria's extended family members react with outrage and complete rejection of her behavior and choices. Grandparents who traveled from other states expressed disappointment in Victoria's character and moral failure. Cousins and relatives who respected Victoria feel betrayed by her deception and lies to everyone. Victoria's childhood friends in attendance look shocked by the systematic betrayal they witnessed. Hajo tonight. Everyone who trusted Victoria realizes they were deceived for months while she conducted her affair. The family unity turns against Victoria as people demand explanations for her cruel treatment. Victoria becomes increasingly isolated as former supporters abandon her for betraying family values. Thomas faces similar rejection as wedding guests realize he contaminated their celebration with inappropriate behavior. Both affair partners lose all support and sympathy from people who once cared about them. I conclude my speech by explaining how I discovered their affair during wedding planning activities. My calm narration contrasts sharply with Victoria and Thomas's emotional breakdown and desperate denials. The audience realizes I handled this betrayal with dignity, while they acted like selfish destroyers. Melissa thanks me through tears for revealing the truth about her sister's deception and lies. Victoria grabs her purse and runs from the ballroom in complete shame and humiliation. Thomas follows her, trying to salvage something from the disaster they created together for months. The wedding guests watch both betrayers flee like cowards from the consequences of their actions. I return to my seat while family members applaud my courage in exposing the truth. The reception continues with Victoria and Thomas permanently banished from the celebration and our lives completely forever. The wedding reception erupts in chaos as family members process the shocking revelation about Victoria's affair. Melissa breaks down crying, realizing her sister's betrayal has contaminated her special day celebration. Robert comforts his new wife while glaring at the exit where Victoria and Thomas disappeared. Victoria's parents sit in stunned silence, trying to understand how their daughter could deceive everyone. Extended family members whisper among themselves about the evidence they just witnessed on screen. Several relatives express anger that Victoria used wedding planning to cover her systematic adultery. The elegant ballroom atmosphere transforms into tense discussion groups analyzing the scandal that just unfolded. Guests take photos and videos to document the dramatic exposure for social media sharing. The DJ stops playing music, allowing people to process what they experienced during my speech. Everyone realizes they witnessed complete destruction of Victoria's reputation and marriage in real time tonight. Victoria's parents approach me with apologies for their daughter's betrayal and cruel treatment of our marriage. Her mother cries, while explaining that they raised Victoria with better values than she displayed. Victoria's father shakes my hand and praises my courage in revealing the truth publicly. They offer to help with divorce proceedings and support my legal case against Victoria completely. Extended family members express similar support while condemning Victoria's systematic deception and lies to everyone. Aunts and uncles promise to testify about Victoria's character if needed for court proceedings. Victoria's childhood friends feel betrayed and embarrassed by her behavior toward me and the family. Everyone who trusted Victoria realizes they were manipulated and deceived for months during her affair. The family unity turns against Victoria while rallying around me as the innocent victim. Victoria faces complete rejection from every person who once cared about her and loved her. Thomas's reputation as a wedding photographer is destroyed immediately after the public exposure of his affair. Several guests at the reception are engaged couples who plan to hire Thomas for services. They cancel their contracts immediately and demand refunds for deposits paid to his business already. Word spreads quickly through social media about Thomas's unprofessional conduct and relationship with clients' relatives. His girlfriend learns about the affair through friends who attended the wedding reception tonight. Thomas faces losing his business, relationship, and professional standing in our community within hours. Other photographers in town celebrate Thomas's downfall as competition decreases for their businesses naturally. Thomas's social media accounts fill with negative reviews and warnings about his character. The wedding photography industry is small, and gossip travels fast about scandals like tonight's revelation. Thomas will struggle to find clients willing to trust him with important family celebrations. Melissa eventually stops crying and thanks me for revealing Victoria's betrayal, despite ruining her reception. She explains that learning the truth now is better than discovering it later. Melissa says she would rather know about Victoria's character than remain deceived forever, like everyone. Robert supports his new wife's feelings while expressing gratitude for my honesty and courage. They realize that Victoria contaminated their wedding planning with her affair activities and lies. Melissa feels violated, knowing Victoria used wedding coordination to facilitate meetings with Thomas behind everyone's backs. The newlyweds decide to continue their reception celebration without Victoria and Thomas present ever. Family members encourage Melissa and Robert to focus on their happiness rather than Victoria's scandal. The reception music resumes as guests try to salvage the evening for the innocent couple. Melissa and Robert dance their first dance while everyone applauds their strength and resilience. Victoria's extended family spreads the story throughout their social networks and community connections immediately after tonight. Church members learn about Victoria's hypocrisy and adultery through relatives who attended the wedding reception. Neighbors receive phone calls describing Victoria's systematic betrayal and public exposure at the family celebration. Victoria's coworkers will learn about her affair when they return to work Monday morning. The story becomes local gossip as people share. Details about the dramatic wedding speech revelation. Victoria's reputation in our small town is permanently damaged by tonight's public humiliation and exposure. Social media posts from wedding guests document the entire scandal with photos and videos. Victoria cannot escape the consequences because everyone knows about her betrayal and lies now. The community will judge Victoria as a woman who destroys families for selfish desires and temporary pleasure. I receive overwhelming support from wedding guests who admire my handling of Victoria's betrayal with dignity. Family members praise my composure and presentation of evidence rather than emotional breakdown or violence. Several men approach me sharing their own experiences with unfaithful wives and offering friendship. Women express respect for my courage in exposing Victoria publicly rather than suffering in silence. The community sees me as a victim who fought back intelligently against systematic deception and betrayal. My reputation as an honest businessman grows stronger after tonight's demonstration of character under pressure. Friends offer legal referrals and emotional support during the upcoming divorce proceedings against Victoria completely. Everyone realizes I maintain my integrity while Victoria and Thomas destroyed theirs through selfish choices. The contrast between my behavior and their panic makes my character shine even brighter tonight. Thomas attempts to return to the reception, seeking forgiveness and damage control for his reputation. Several male relatives physically block his entrance and threaten violence if he approaches anyone. Thomas realizes he is not welcome and will face hostility from Victoria's family forever now. His attempts at apology and explanation fail because the evidence was overwhelming and undeniable completely. Thomas drives away knowing his business and relationship are destroyed by tonight's exposure of the affair. His girlfriend calls demanding explanations while his clients leave angry voicemails canceling services immediately tonight. Thomas faces financial ruin as his photography business collapses within hours of the wedding speech. The affair cost Thomas everything, including his livelihood and professional reputation in our community permanently. He learns that betraying trust has consequences that extend far beyond just personal relationships and marriages. Victoria calls me repeatedly throughout the night, begging for forgiveness and reconciliation after her public humiliation. I ignore every call and text message while enjoying the wedding reception with supportive family. Victoria realizes she lost everything, including her marriage, family relationships, and social standing in one evening. Her desperate messages reveal panic about facing divorce proceedings without family support or financial resources. Victoria's affair destroyed every meaningful relationship in her life for temporary pleasure with Thomas Mitchell. She faces moving back with her parents who express disappointment in her character tonight. Victoria's career may suffer as co-workers learn about her systematic deception and moral failures. The public exposure ensures Victoria cannot minimize or deny her betrayal to anyone who matters. She must face complete consequences for months of lies and systematic adultery against our marriage vows. The wedding reception continues successfully, despite Victoria's scandal dominating early conversation among guests attending tonight. Melissa and Robert focus on celebrating their love while ignoring the drama Victoria created. Family members dance and enjoy themselves while discussing Victoria's downfall and my courage in exposing truth. The DJ plays romantic music while couples dance and celebrate marriage values that Victoria violated completely. Guests take photos and share memories of Melissa's beautiful ceremony before the scandal revelation occurred during dinner. The evening becomes memorable for multiple reasons, including the dramatic exposure of systematic adultery and betrayal. Everyone leaves knowing they witnessed justice served publicly against people who betray family trust. The reception ends with Melissa thanking me again for my honesty, despite the temporary disruption it caused. Victoria's absence improves the celebration as people focus on genuine love rather than deception and lies. 3 months after the wedding reception exposure, my divorce from Victoria is finalized with complete victory. The evidence I presented at Melissa's wedding made the legal proceedings simple and favorable to me. Victoria's attorney advised her to accept my terms rather than fight a case she could not win. I received our house, savings accounts, and most of our joint assets due to her adultery. Victoria must pay me alimony for 2 years as compensation for her betrayal and financial theft. The court awarded me everything I requested because Victoria's systematic deception was documented thoroughly and completely. Her affair with Thomas cost Victoria her marriage, financial security, and legal standing in the community. The wedding speech evidence ensured that justice was served through the legal system perfectly. Victoria learned that public exposure of adultery has permanent consequences that cannot be undone or minimized successfully. Victoria's reputation in our community is permanently destroyed by the wedding reception scandal that everyone witnessed. She moved back with her parents after losing our house in the divorce settlement proceedings. Victoria faces constant judgment and whispers everywhere she goes in our small town, where everyone knows everything. Former friends avoid Victoria because they feel betrayed by her systematic lies and deception over months. Her church membership was revoked after the pastor learned about her adultery and moral failures. Victoria cannot find employment because employers worry about her character and trustworthiness with responsibilities and duties. The public exposure at the wedding ensures Victoria faces consequences everywhere she tries to rebuild. Social media posts from the reception continue circulating with evidence of her affair and betrayal. Victoria realizes that actions have permanent results that follow you forever in small communities where reputation matters. Thomas's wedding photography business collapsed completely within 2 weeks of the reception exposure and scandal. Every client canceled their contracts and demanded full refunds for deposits paid to his company. Negative reviews flooded his social media accounts and business websites with warnings about his unprofessional conduct. Other photographers in our area refused to recommend Thomas or work with him on projects. His girlfriend left him immediately after learning about the affair through wedding guests who posted evidence. Thomas sold his expensive camera equipment to pay refunds and legal fees from angry clients. He moved to another state seeking fresh start where nobody knows about his scandal. The photography community is small, and gossip travels fast about unprofessional behavior, like Thomas displayed with Victoria. Thomas learned that betraying client trust destroys business reputation faster than any other mistake he could make. Melissa forgave me completely for exposing Victoria's affair during her wedding reception celebration and ceremony. She realized that learning the truth was more important than maintaining perfect wedding memories without drama. Melissa and Robert's marriage is stronger because they witnessed the consequences of deception and betrayal firsthand. They communicate openly and honestly, knowing how lies destroy relationships and families completely over time. Melissa cut contact with Victoria after the wedding scandal and has not spoken with her. She focuses on building her new marriage rather than fixing Victoria's problems and poor choices. Melissa uses Victoria's scandal as an example when advising friends about marriage and trust issues. The dramatic wedding exposure taught Melissa valuable lessons about character and the importance of integrity. She appreciates my courage in revealing truth, despite the temporary disruption it caused to celebrations. Victoria's parents supported me throughout the divorce proceedings while rejecting their daughter's behavior entirely and completely. They testified about Victoria's lies and deception to help my legal case against her. Victoria's mother cries whenever she discusses her daughter's betrayal of family values and marriage vows. They feel embarrassed by Victoria's public scandal and the shame it brought to their family. Victoria's parents changed their will to remove her from inheritance due to her moral failures. They maintain contact with me and invite me to family gatherings while excluding Victoria. Victoria lost her parents' respect and support when she needed it most during the divorce. Her family relationships were destroyed, along with her marriage through her selfish choices and betrayal. Victoria faces complete isolation from everyone who once cared about her and loved her unconditionally. My business has grown significantly because community members admire how I handled Victoria's betrayal with strength. Clients seek my accounting services because they trust my character and integrity after the wedding speech. Word-of-mouth referrals increased dramatically as people respect my courage in exposing systematic deception and adultery publicly. The dramatic revelation proved my honesty and reliability in ways that normal advertising cannot achieve ever. New customers specifically mentioned the wedding speech when explaining why they chose my firm. My reputation for truth and justice attracts clients who value integrity in business relationships and services. The scandal actually benefited my professional life while destroying Victoria and Thomas's careers completely and permanently. Success comes from maintaining character even during the most difficult personal challenges and betrayals in marriage. Victoria and Thomas's affair relationship ended immediately after their public exposure at the wedding reception completely. They blamed each other for the scandal and consequences that followed the dramatic revelation of truth. Thomas accused Victoria of being too obvious with her behavior and attracting my suspicion unnecessarily. Victoria blamed Thomas for not protecting her from discovery and public humiliation at the family celebration. Their temporary passion turned into permanent hatred once they faced real consequences for betraying marriage vows. Neither affair partner supported the other during divorce proceedings or business failures that followed exposure. They realized their relationship was built on deception and could not survive when tested by adversity. The selfish desires that brought them together became sources of mutual resentment and blame. Victoria and Thomas learned that love built on betrayal cannot last when reality destroys fantasy. I started dating again 6 months after my divorce was finalized, and Victoria moved away permanently. My new girlfriend Sarah appreciates my honesty and strength after witnessing how I handled systematic betrayal. Sarah attended Melissa's wedding and saw my speech exposing Victoria's affair with dignity and evidence. She admires men who fight back against deception rather than accepting betrayal silently and passively. Our relationship is built on complete transparency and open communication about everything important to us. Sarah brings genuine kindness and loyalty that I never experienced with Victoria during our marriage. Dating someone trustworthy helps heal the trauma of systematic deception and emotional abuse I endured. Sarah's character shows me what healthy relationships look like when both people choose honesty consistently. We plan to marry next year with Melissa and Robert serving as our witnesses. Today, I live with complete satisfaction knowing that perfect justice was served through natural consequences and truth. The wedding reception exposure ensured maximum impact on both Victoria and Thomas's reputations and futures permanently. My revenge succeeded because I used documented evidence rather than violence or illegal retaliation against them. Public humiliation at a family celebration destroyed their social standing and professional relationships completely and forever. Victoria lost everything, including her marriage, family support, financial security, and community respect through her choices. Thomas's business collapsed, and his reputation was ruined in ways that will follow him anywhere. The affair cost both betrayers everything meaningful, while I rebuilt a better life with genuine people. Sometimes the best revenge comes from simply revealing truth at the perfect moment for maximum impact. The most satisfying aspect of this situation is that Victoria destroyed herself through her own systematic choices and deception. I did not need to fabricate evidence or manipulate circumstances to achieve justice against her. The surveillance and documentation simply revealed truth that already existed in their affair relationship regularly. Victoria and Thomas created all the evidence needed for their own destruction through selfish betrayal of trust. My role was gathering proof and presenting it at the moment of maximum impact and damage. The wedding reception timing ensured that consequences were immediate, public, and permanent for both betrayers completely. Natural justice proved more thorough and lasting than anything I could have planned artificially or illegally. Their downfall serves as proof that character matters more than temporary desires when building lasting relationships. My experience taught valuable lessons about trust, revenge, and the power of truth over deception. If you think cheating spouses deserve to be exposed at the worst possible moment, hit that like button to support victims who get creative with their revenge. Have you ever discovered infidelity during a major family event? And how did you handle the explosive situation? Drop your wedding disaster stories in the comments, and let's discuss the most dramatic ways to expose cheaters. Subscribe now for more stories where unfaithful partners get humiliated exactly when they least expect it. Next week's shocking tale. My husband's affair partner didn't know I was his boss until performance review day.